Just got back from the wrecking yard. Picked up a new used window regulator for that door, because that window don't go up and down. Picked up a new used vent window for that door, because that one's broken. Of course, the seats in this thing are garbage. So picked up a set of captain's chairs for the front. These are both in very good shape. Picked up a couple of sun visors since that one was missing. Tried to start this thing, of course, got nothing. I got no cranking. So had to figure it out what the problem was. About 15 maybe 20 minutes. But the problem was right here. This is the neutral safety switch. It had gone bad, and the neutral safety switch is bad. What it does is it doesn't send a signal. There's two wires in this bundle right here, and it's just a switch. So I just bypassed the neutral safety switch. Now, after bypassing the neutral safety switch, I couldn't figure out. I mean, I got the key to work. The key turns, and you can crank it, but I couldn't figure out for about another 5 minutes or so why I wasn't getting any spark. I pulled the spark plug wire, stuck a spark plug in it, this one right here, laid it on the block, cranked it. I got zero spark, and I couldn't figure out what the hell. So I looked at this little harness now. I don't know what this is for. If any of you know what it's for, leave a comment. But anyway, this is a 4-wire hookup, and I was thinking that this had to be sending, I don't know, power to the, I thought maybe power to the distributor. But then I remembered, no, that the distributor power comes in here. I don't know if you can see that. Right there, it says BAT, battery. Now, so I looked, and it was just like that. There was nothing plugged in. Now, I couldn't see this at the time because this was like that, shoved under on top of the bell housing. I looked all over for a battery connection, and there was none. So I pulled on these, found this. Said, Eureka, that's got to be the lead for the power, 12 volt, to the distributor. So I stuck it in just like that, turned the key after putting a little bit of gas in the carb, and it fired right up. This engine fired right up, and it sounded fantastic. No valve train noise, no bottom end noise, no main bearing, wrist pin, lifter, no nothing at all, noise-wise. So I just connected the fuel line from the fuel pump, the inlet line, stuck it into a fuel tank, which I have in here, and then put it into gear, and I had nothing, no drive. So I checked the tranny fluid, and it was bone dry. I stuck 4 quarts of tranny fluid in this thing, put it into gear, went right into gear, and it drives forward, backwards, no problem. I have not taken it out on the street yet because the master cylinder is done. From what I was able to gather, I believe that this thing has been sitting for about 6 years. Maybe a lot longer than that. But that was the last time anything was done with the title, as far as Carfax Report is concerned. So it does look like it has, well, I don't know how recent, but I would say that this carburetor was probably replaced sometime around the last time it was actually registered and used. The carburetor had no leaks whatsoever, which I was surprised. The accelerator pump, which is this right here, you can hear it works great. Usually those dry right up, and that's the first thing you have to replace is the accelerator pump. But it works just great. I haven't had or noticed any kind of mechanical issues with this thing whatsoever, other than the brake master cylinder. All the wires for the climate control were disconnected. I got those all plugged back in where they go. But it's about ready for a road test as soon as I replace that master cylinder. I picked up a new air conditioning vent that was missing. But yeah, everything looks great. I don't think I'll have any issues taking it for a test drive. I'm going to replace the windshield first, though. I don't like that at all. So I'll get that replaced and reinstall the gauge cluster. I went ahead and installed an oil pressure, and this is mechanical. Doesn't work out. It works off of actual oil pressure, pressing on the back of that gauge right there. And that's the thermostat. And on the back of the gauge cluster, this thing was so old and the plastic was all brittle. It's one thing about having a vehicle like this. This vehicle sold at Rudolph Chevrolet right here in El Paso, Texas. Brand new back in 1981. And it's been in the hot desert sun ever since, so all this stuff becomes extremely brittle. And the wires are very short anyway, and this is a pain in the butt to reattach the gauge cluster and the speedo. So went on to eBay and I found a used replacement, but this one, it's in really good shape, nice and flexible. So I'm gonna solder and then shrink wrap it, and it'll give me more room to get my hands in there so I can plug that back in. So, you know, kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone type of deal. These vans are just getting too darn hard to find, though. So the funny story, I ran an ad in the El Paso Craigslist, and it was for a van wanted, and I had it in there for about 2 years, and during the 2 years I got 3 calls. One was for a barn door van, which I wasn't interested in, and I wanted a sliding door because I want to make this into an A-team van. So anyway, after 2 years of waiting, and the other one was in Albuquerque, and it sounded like a rust bucket, so I wasn't interested in that one. So anyway, 2 years go by. Finally, I said, you know what, this ad's not working, or there's just not enough of these things to go around. So I've been trying to buy one at the Copart auto auction. And every one I found has been either, I found one in Reno, I found several in Washington, and I found one in Phoenix. I should have bought the one in Phoenix, but it was an 8-lug, and to find 8-lug wheels in the A-Team style is very hard to do. It's bad enough to try and find them in the 5-lug style. But anyway, I passed on that one, and I bought one out of the Tucson, Arizona Copart auto auction for $650. And I bought that van on Friday. And it was 6 days later, I get a call on the Craigslist ad that I had placed for 2 years. And this guy tells me, he goes, "Hey, I got a 1981 slider door cargo van." I said, "Okay, yeah. Well, I just bought this other one from Copart 5 days earlier." So anyway, I go out to look at the guy's van, which is this one I'm sitting in, by the way. And anyway, so he was telling me that he bought it a year ago, had it for a year, couldn't get it started, got it to crank, and that was about it. So then, make a long story short, I wound up buying that van for $950. No, it cost me $960. I gave him $900 for the van and another $60 to tow it home. But I bought that one from the Tucson Copart auto auction. I wish the guy had called me 5 days earlier on my 2-year-old ad. This one I paid $650 for, but Copart fees that ran it up to $1,020, and I was going to go pick it up myself in my Duramax, but I had to rent the trailer. Trailer rental was $54, and fuel, I figured I'd have to fill it up 3 times, and now thanks to Biden, fuel prices are extremely high. So I figured I would have had to spend about $80 3 times to fuel the thing, getting there and back. So I figured by the time all was said and done, you know, with eating on the road, and you know, food and gas and trailer, and that it was going to cost me about I don't know, about $340, $350, somewhere around there. So I found a transportation company, and they did it for me for $450 to my door, which is only 300 miles. But it saved me about a 10-hour drive. So for me, it was worth the extra bucks. And the worst part about it was the company I hired to pick it up, the broker company, to find me a driver, took his sweet ass time, and I wound up getting stuck with Copart storage fees. It was there for a total of 10 days, you know, from the date of the auction. So I wound up having to pay about another $130 in storage. This van came with no key, so I had to take out the pin for the transmission linkage and roll it off the trailer. And oh yeah, I already got a new bumper for it. So anyway, the van was sitting in front of my house. I had to get it out of there. You know, I don't want to leave it in the front. But I had already bought and ordered, already had in my possession, a new ignition key lock cylinder. So I had to pull the steering wheel, and then pull the lock cylinder, pull the turn signal mechanism, and then install the new key and switch. And then of course the battery was dead, so I had to charge the battery. But it fired right up. Put it into gear, drove right in the backyard. In fact, the key's actually in this one. But supposedly this one's only got 48,568 miles original on this van. And you know, looking at stuff like this brake pedal, it might be accurate. I don't know. I mean, Copart's pretty good at doing Carfaxes on these things before they sell them. But this one's got the better engine in it than the other van. It's got the 5.7 liter 350 fuel injection. And it fires right up. And the compressor is actually working. The blower fan does not seem to be working though. Came with a free jack. Came with a free toilet. And no, it's not hooked up. And then they did some pretty weird shit to the seat. I don't know what the hell happened there. Somebody bent the hell out of it. Same thing with that seat. That seat shouldn't be back that far, and it does not have a tilt mechanism on it. It's full of crap. It's all got to go. Got to clean it out. Don't like these. I mean, you don't need a step when it's only that high. This thing does not have a lift on it. It does have a rack on it. Okay, so it's in pretty good shape. It's not a rust bucket or nothing like that, but it did take a hit to the to this side. Now the good thing is it's not as bad as it looks. I mean, this door here comes right off, and you bolt another one on. In fact, I already found another one over at You Pull It for only a measly $42 for that door. And I'm actually going to buy 4 doors for this van. This van also took some damage here that I didn't notice in the pictures when I bought it. And I'll probably buy this center section here and then weld in the replacement. This door's got a dent there, so I'll replace this door. I got back from Copart getting these seats for the gold van, and I checked out they have 2 vans. Wait, no, they do have 3 vans. They're white, and the front passenger door on those vans, they're all perfect, no dents. The sliding door van, the sliding door has some damage to it, but it's just from people shoving in these doors when they close. And for some reason, there's a cut that runs from right here to right here, about 5 inches long. I'll have to weld it. Or I can go to another junkyard where they supposedly have a good one for $140. And then it's got this dent here, which I can either cut the quarter panel off of the one over at Copart, and they'll charge me about $40 for it, and then weld in a new panel. But that's an awful lot of work. Or I could pull this dent out, which is probably what I'm going to wind up doing, just fixing this dent. And the back doors are all banged up too on this. But the good news is those vans over at You Pull It, have perfect doors on the back. So for 42 bucks, I'm sorry, 53 bucks out the door, I can replace this door and another 53 bucks to replace that door. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll spend 106 bucks for that, for those two doors, 106 bucks for these two doors. And then the only thing I have to worry about fixing is that dent there and this dent right here. They also have another bucket seat, and it's in pretty decent shape. Just a little torn at the seam right there. So I'll buy some seat covers for it, and I'll stick my other one, that one there, in on the passenger side, and I'll stick those blue ones in here. Eventually I'll get those reupholstered, maybe in another shade of blue, a little lighter color blue, or even vinyl. Yeah, I'll probably redo them in vinyl. But I'm in the process of buffing this thing out. As you can see, the shine's coming right back. This is original 40-year-old paint. I took all the graffiti off. And if you watch my other video, you'll see it. It was all graffitied up. Story has it, the guy that I bought it from, he had bought the van, and he went back the next day to pick it up, and it was covered with graffiti. But when he bought it, it was no graffiti. So, got all the graffiti off. Oh, they have another bumper too at the at that Copart for the back, so I'll just replace that as well. I mean, it's got a little bit of damage to it, but I'm pretty sure I can straighten that out without any issues at all. And this front bumper is perfect. Now, when I move this into the backyard, because it took a hit here, this carriage bolt actually bolts to a bracket that runs to the frame, this one right here. And this is bent out, so when you make a turn, the tire hits right here. You can see how badly bent it is. Now I can take that to my anvil and I can straighten it out. Or I can pull one from the junkyard. In fact, I can get the one that I actually pulled this bumper off of. So it should be only one bolt. So I'm going to do that. And I believe I can get the bracket for about $5. Leave a comment in the comment section. What would you do? Would you pound that bracket out, or would you spend $5 for one that's perfectly straight? See, when you pound it out, and pounding out brackets, you risk hitting a thumb or hurting yourself. So to me, it's worth the $5. But anyway, if you're interested in these van builds, remember to subscribe, like, hit the bell, and leave a question if you have any questions. Thanks again. You have a good one. Good day, good night, good afternoon, or whatever it is. Thanks again for watching.